Welcome back to Newsmakers. Camper vans. There's a lot of people get really angry because they're slow on the road. They take up 3 car parks at the supermarket, and they've got a reputation for not using the built-in toilets. What are your views?
Well, I think there are a whole lot of issues there. I think the issue of, and I get very frustrated on the road actually when you're behind someone who's slow or they're looking for somewhere to go. But we've all been in that situation in another town. And for 2-3 months when I haven't been rushing around and I've taken a bit of time and, you know, not had to go from one meeting to another, I've been more relaxed on the road and more tolerant on the road too. So maybe we actually have to be a bit more tolerant of people who are visiting our city and actually putting some money into our economy too. The free camping issue is another issue. It shouldn't happen, and I think the council's moving now to clamp down on that. I know it's been a big issue in Queenstown as well. But we need to promote free camping sites more, if indeed there are any. And I think there's a responsibility there for the council and for tourism and promoters to do that.
And you get frustrated and grumpy?
No, I don't. We promoted ourselves as 100% pure. Our geography and our little country is absolutely perfect for camper van holiday. The fact that within an hour you can move from one environment into a completely new environment is fresh, refreshing, inspiring, and I think one of our big attributes. Now, whenever we've got a winner, and I've never seen this as many camper vans in other countries as we've got here. We've got a winner in a product that appeals to our tourists, and we've got to service it. You don't close the product, you work out why we aren't servicing it. So we need camping grounds that they have easy access to. We need facilities. So what we want to do here is take the benefits of these tourists who are having wonderful holidays. Some of them who come and dine at the Octagon are delighted with their camper van holiday. Well, if that's what's happening and we're in the tourist game, support it with the infrastructure that can do it properly. And don't complain.
I think there is the infrastructure there. I don't think that's what's missing. There's camping grounds everywhere. I mean, we go camping from time to time, and there's camping grounds everywhere. I think what's at issue here is that these people are coming in from overseas and expecting to do it for free. And that's a whole new issue that I probably don't really need to go into. But why should these people come from overseas and expect to spend a minimal amount of money? I mean, if we're supposed to welcome them as tourists, they should not only be spending money on going to the proper camping grounds and using the loos and showers there, but on going to restaurants and spending their money locally. But I think when you're talking about them driving, it's not just the camper vans that drive you mad on the roads, actually. It's Kiwi drivers are just as bad. It's the ones that drive along and take absolutely no notice of the fact that there might be 20 cars piled up behind them because they're going along at 70 k's. And it's not just camper vans, it's Kiwis as well. Well, I presume they're Kiwis, or they might be people in rental cars, I don't know. But they just don't look. And, you know, by the time there's about 20 cars behind you, you'd think you would have got the message that you might just be holding a few people up.
Why do people not realise that there's actually a little thing either side of the steering wheel and it's called an indicator? You know, they were coming here. There was a guy driving along Hereford Street and he was just driving along in his own little world. I honked his horn, no indication. It was then he just floated to the side of the road and waved his hand like that. You know, my child who's 11 now, Ruby's first words were bloody idiot because she sat in the back with me as I drove around Christchurch. So, yeah, you're right, but why is our driving so bad?
Yeah.
Why?
Why is it? I mean, you've lived in Australia, South Africa. We really are bad, aren't we, especially in Canterbury?
I really don't know. They haven't. I go past them so fast I don't even worry them.
You're a buck man now. What really
I'm a grown-up boy
gets
racer.
Is you coming in and you let somebody into the flow of traffic and they just take it, they don't acknowledge and say thank you. Gosh, that gets me grumpy.
Yeah, just a hand wave like that. Have you ever had anyone nick your car park? Have you ever had that? What do you do when that happens? Like, are you a road rager?
No, I'm not. I'm one of those people that my mother taught me to repress, and just swear loudly. It's a horrible feeling, isn't it?
I've discovered a word that works for them. Get out of your motor car, go to their window, they look at you with real apprehension. They lower the windscreen only this much so that you can't get your hands in. And then you say, I am discontented. They're absolutely flabbergasted, say sorry and drive away and give you the space.
So obviously it works really well.
Discontented is a vicious word.
So you've got to be careful too before you do. I know to take the humour in that too, but you've got to be careful before you do anything like that these days.
I wouldn't go up to a car. I mean, who's to say that they're not going to get up and plant you before you say anything?
Yeah.
No.
Would open the door and hit you on the shins. That'd be that. But I mean, this in one day, within 1 hour, apparently there were 4 cyclists knocked off bicycles on the causeway. I mean, it's pretty tough out there, isn't it? It's a jungle.
The problem is, I think, that we will always be, and we've got one of the highest ownerships of cars and car users in Christchurch and Canterbury. And unfortunately, until we have a public transport system that is reliable, that is regular, that is frequent, all of those things, people are going to use their cars. So what's happening at the moment, I think, particularly from a council perspective, is we've got bus lanes and a whole lot of strategies in place that are trying to get people to get out of their cars, or trying to make people get out of their cars, but they're not. So you're getting snarled up. There are bus lanes, you're getting snarled up in the wrong ways.
Happened every road's like a sleigh limb now.
Yeah, and you get towed, and so you should get towed if you're parked in those bus lanes.
But the Canterbury Psych is not public transport. We're not Wellingtonian people, are we? I mean,
No.
or Aucklanders. Or
Well, I think Wellingtonians are going off it. I was up there a couple of weeks ago and catching the train out to Parabram. Well, first of all, you have to get a bus, and then you get to the train station, get on the train. Then, of course, it doesn't go because it's broken down. And, the funny thing was nobody on that train was at all surprised, and apparently it happens all the time. So that if you do rely on public transport, which a lot of people do, it sort of doesn't really go anymore.
No. See, I think it's strange that you can go to London and everybody uses the underground as though it's second nature, but in New Zealand, in Christchurch,
Well, they only use it because they have to use it. I mean, there's a huge amount of grumbling and griping, and it's not very, it's often late if it runs at all. I mean, the trains on the underground don't run if there are leaves on the tracks. I mean, you would have thought really that a train would be all right if there were leaves on the track.
There's not too many trees under the ground anyway.
No, I don't know where the leaves come from, but yeah.
Alan, you'd love to have a train stop pretty close to your place of work. Well, I suppose you've got a tram stop.
We've got a bus stop across the way. I can't really comment. It is amazing that Christchurch decided to move their train station out of town. And when we've got, really we've quite spread out. People travel quite a long way, Rangiora, Kaipoi. They come to work every day, and we moved our train station out of town. You'd think that that's one of the things would be in town, and the first place to try and solve the problem. But the motor vehicle is the preferred means of transport, and it should therefore get some priority. The bicycle, of course, is one of the things that's defied evolution. Everything else evolves and the old form dies. The bicycle got indicators and headlights and a little 50cc motor and a guard for your knees so that you didn't hurt yourself, and regulations on licensing and regulations on helmets. As it evolved into a motorcycle, the bicycle somehow survived with no requirements on safety, with ridiculous helmets. Outside the restaurant each evening there's a guy with dreadlocks. He has his locks tied up with his bicycle helmet way up top, about 6 inches above his head, and he's safe and he's happy. So I think it's a dilemma. And if we want green emissions, we should really consider the horse. It has the greenest emissions of all. And I'm looking forward to bus lanes, cycle lanes and horse lanes with cars moving along the pavement. That's our future, I think.
We're going to be talking about costs of things like consents and compliance. With that in mind, I guess, straight after the break.